Hello and welcome to India News TV. Recently, the Chinese embassy in New Delhi issued a letter to the Indian media instructing it on the ways to cover the Taiwanese National Day. It also advised Indian journalists to maintain strict One China policy. Now, this comes subsequently after a few Indian newspapers published a full-page advertisement of Taiwanese National Day. Now, here are a few things which we are going to explore today with strategic experts from New Delhi and Taiwan on this subject. What are the kind of things which has irked China when it comes to the Indian media talking about Taiwan? Is there a broad consensus amongst Indian media when it comes to reporting about China? And is Indian media reflecting a global anger against China in regard to COVID-19, South China Sea, Hong Kong, and so on? Here's a look.
I think the context is because we have the Galwan incident where 20 Indian soldiers were killed on June 15th night. And currently there is a standoff between the two sides. There is a certain armed stalemate between India and China in eastern Ladakh, Aksai Chin border regions. And over 100,000 troops on both sides have been mobilized. So obviously there is a lot of tension. The Foreign Minister of India mentioned on June 19th, soon after the June 15th incident, which resulted in 20 Indian soldiers being killed.
In China, under Xi Jinping, the internal policies has been more repressive, while you see that foreign policy direction under Xi Jinping has been much more aggressive and antagonistic, at least in behavior, what we see from its behavior in South China Sea with BRI and India-China on border issue, and in many ways, and especially during the COVID-19, right? We are talking about India-China relations or China's reaction, for that matter, on India's reporting of or participation in Taiwan's national celebration is because that reaction has been resulted from how Xi Jinping and his officials have been approaching much more aggressive and much more proactive in that sense in social media as well, and criticizing people who have been participating in Taiwan's national celebration, and all these incidents have been coming up.
Chinese embassy's statement regarding Indian media's stand in general, and regarding the double 10, and regarding the fact that they should uphold One China policy. They should make sure that, well, Taiwan is a part of China, and they should fall in line. They should their stand should be in line with the government of India. This is basically trying to find a way in which they can criticize Indian media and indirectly Indian government, because the Chinese government, I think, if you see the interaction which has happened between the Chinese diplomats and Indian diplomats earlier as well, the general stand has been that, why don't you control your media? And the Indian bureaucrats, Indian officials, Indian political stand has always been that we have a free media. We do not control the media in India the way they do it in China.
I think it's not a new one, I would say, because I've seen in 2019 the Chinese embassy issue a statement when the media in India published about an article about Taiwan, referring Taiwan as a country. So the Chinese media expressing dissatisfactions, statements on the particular issue is not a new. But recently, I would say definitely the border clash and the aggressive Chinese aggressive behavior at the border definitely had influenced India taking up issues about Taiwan, because Indian media had like published thousand articles about Tibet issue, right? So every Tibetan, every year when Tibetan commemorate their national uprising day, the Indian media published articles about it, talking about how the China aggressions in Tibet or human rights violations about that. But the Taiwan thing is the covering issues about Taiwan, and particularly Taiwan National Day, which is a very sensitive topic. Covering such in Indian media is a new thing, I would say. So Taiwan Tibet issues are like considered as the core issue of China.
So I think it's just a part of their efforts to tell them that this is a position. And in fact, if you look at the wording of the statement, they say that you have to align with what the Indian government position is on One China policy and on Taiwan. So it's a way of saying that this is what your government position is and you have to align with that.
Press in India is free. They follow their own ombudsman role, unlike in authoritarian regimes, where the press acts like a tongue or mouthpiece, like in China. So, in the case of India, the press is a watchdog, in other words, and try to audit the functioning of the government if there is anything wrong that has been going on, not just with India, but also in terms of its outlook, democratic outlook. Indeed, the Doklam crisis has been a major breakaway point in the Indian media's coverage of China, because China began the three warfares: legal warfare, psychological warfare, and most important, media warfare. So the Xinhua News Agency, the People's Daily, the other news outlets, Global Times, they have carried very invective portrayal of the Indian side. For example, Xinhua carried a video lampooning the Sardarjis, the Sikh community, because they form a significant proportion of the Indian army. But they have portrayed a racist kind of position during the Doklam crisis. Most of the media outlets in China have been very, very negative towards India during the Doklam crisis.
In terms of India, after the Galwan incident, I have definitely seen that there is a unanimous, a drive or opinion against the Chinese government and how they have been reacting. They have been infiltrating, not just today or few days back, or Galwan incident or Doklam, and thereafter, and more we have seen China's intrusion for the past many years.
It's an uncomfortable consensus, if at all. I think there has been sections in Indian media where they have taken a more nuanced view of the Chinese positions rather than going bombastic over it. At times, often negative coverage, fairly negative. It's not even negative; it's a bad coverage actually. Yes, current situation, as I said, I think New India Intermedia definitely realizes that negative coverage is getting them all the eyeballs. And with COVID, they are in a different situation. They want eyeballs, they want revenue, and this is the way they have chosen.
From an Indian perspective, or from Indian side, I would say I think it's a general consensus or the people's sentiments against China aggressive behavior at the border. That is, it's a very clear, I would say. So China issuing statement is not a new. It's happened in 2019, and it happened today, and it will happen.
I think whenever there was a clash between China and India, so the reportage was just restricted to China and what is China's behavior and how should India react. But now it has moved towards Taiwan too. This domestic discourse is kind of involving Taiwan too, which is, I believe, it is an unprecedented situation.
Indeed, according to some surveys, 1 in 4 people across the globe have been infected with the COVID-19 or had negative consequences. Their brother or a sister or parents or near relatives.
From personal point of view, I don't think India media was just following for the sake of, international audience or anything like that. But I think India media has been also not just accusing China of the pandemic, but the questioning the behavior of the new China, what we say new China under Xi Jinping. They're more aggressive, more antagonistic in terms of bringing hostility towards not just to India, to Pakistan, to EU, to US, to Australia, to South China Sea. So we have seen this aggressive behavior all over the world. And India is also one of the victims behind this.
And the border intrusion had happened. It's not only we have seen how people protesting the general I'm saying, normally Indian, when it comes to the India-China border clash, Doklam or other, we have not seen the general Indian people expressing their anger toward China. As far as Indian media is concerned, I would say it's rather more to do with the border issue than the COVID-19 issue. But when we talk about the general, the world, how China is receiving, how people are taking stands against, how countries are taking stands against China, it's a China aggressive behavior. We see it more clear after the COVID-19 happened, right? So it's more to do with COVID than COVID. And then, of course, China aggressive behavior that is happening around its neighboring country.
It has certainly shaped domestic debate about China. The China has been aggressive, but now it is getting ever aggressive, and not just with India, as you rightly pointed out, with South China Sea, with Hong Kong, and with Taiwan. So it is getting aggressive at all the front. And if you look at the global mood, it is actually turning against China. And we recently saw that we had the meeting of foreign ministers from 4 quadrilateral countries. So of course, China is at the core of that meeting. So Indian media is also kind of tilting in that direction.
Thanks for watching the video. If you like it, please press the like button, share your views in the comment section, and please subscribe to India News TV for more such updates.